Morning Breeze, FM 88.5 KSBR. This is Cherry Mandala from Ceremony. And I'm loving James Hood's work here. This particular piece, because it's so long, we're going to kind of chat a little bit over. And, you know, I wanted folks to get a greater experience, and our time is so short, that I wanted them to have a greater experience of your relationship with this instrument and how you created this CD. Tell me a little bit about where this was recorded.
Well, the majority of the CD was recorded in one day at the Integratron, which is just outside Joshua Tree National Park. It's in the Mojave Desert, basically. And it's a geodesic dome that was constructed in the late 50s, and it's said to be one of the two perfect acoustic spaces in the United States. So it's a dome. It looks like a little bit like a large igloo. And the sound in there is extraordinary. It's entirely made of wood without the no nails. So I don't know how, but all these beams are bound with twine or something. The inventor of the Integratron felt that nails would affect the resonance of the wood. And I'm sure he's right, because you go in there and so you're in a circular building, and you can experience all sorts of sonic effects. I could stand 20 feet away from you and whisper, DJ, DJ, and you'll feel, because it's circular, so the sound is going round the bend, it'll feel like I'm right next door to you whispering in your ear. If you stand in the middle, it's actually a not particularly pleasant experience, because you speak and it sounds like your voice is outside your body, which makes you almost feel a little nauseous. But there are some parts in there, and where we set up, where you get this sweet spot where you can feel that's, well, I suppose it's a matter of opinion, but that's where all the sort of beneficial juices of this creation, you're here and you play whatever, with me, the hung drum, but whatever you do right there, it just sounds amazing.
I had the experience of the Integratron a year or so ago with crystal bowls, and it was amazing. But I can hear from Cherry Mandala and the rest of the tracks on this particular release, the beautiful sound and the way that it gave you an environment for the drum to really let its voice sing.
Yeah, I mean, we got a recording crew to go out, and we put mics everywhere, right up at the top, and we recorded everything. And then I sort of came back to LA, and it came together incredibly fast, partly because this CD only has one instrument on it. So as a producer, often you're trying to decide how to instrument the song, and shall we have flugelhorn and shakuhachi and then maybe a little bit of cello. But taking all those options out was incredibly freeing for me, and it meant that I was able to complete the album way faster than I normally work. I'm known to be a perfectionist, and I think everyone around me, their jaws dropped, literally, like how quickly I just deliver a finished record, because it's only this instrument. And the other thing I want to say about the hang drum is that when this is a produced record, so that you're hearing a number of hungs, all played by me, that are arranged in an orchestration of hung drums, and something happens that I can't with my analytical mind explain at all. When the sound of three hung drums are together, you start getting other sounds, angelic voices, very subtle kind of overtones and harmonics. So just sort of soaring around, and it's the sum of the three parts that creates an extra part. If you say.
Synergy.
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely. Oh, how lovely. When you were first introduced to this, did you ever think that you'd find yourself this far down the road?
No, I really didn't. Actually, I said to my friend when we were coming here, because it's a bit early in the morning for me, that but it was a beautiful day, and we're driving to play live on the radio, where lots and lots of people are going to hear this beautiful instrument that many people don't know anything about, because it's very rare and it never really got a lift off, and now they're not made anymore, so it's discontinued. So it's always going to be a rarity. And if you'd told me 2 years ago, when I was like sort of knee deep in massive sort of productions that I tend to do, where I've been called the Cecil B. DeMille of ambient music. And I just felt such joy that it's so simple. I'm just can go anywhere now with my hang drum, and I do a show that you saw last week where we project some beautiful images behind me that I think enhance the effect of the music. And no, I really didn't think I'd be here. It's come together. This was a record that I made because initially I play hung all the time. I mean, if you talk to my, kids or family, it's like that, I play 3 or 4 hours a day just for fun because I love it. But I had a record that, the Mood Swings record.
Of course.
That I was frustrated it didn't come out last year. And so I said to, my manager, I said, let's go out to the Integratron and let's make a record on a Thursday and put it out the following Tuesday. And that was my initial intention. I was just going to release it. But as soon as we did it, it sort of asked for me to slow down a little bit. And then we asked around a bit. And before I knew it, I had a label. It came out last week in 17 countries on the same day.
How cool.
And so, it just grew out of nothing. So that now the Mood Swings record, which should have come out now, has been pushed back to September. So it's very ironic that I actually made something just to divert me while I was waiting for it to come out.
I love that, though. And doesn't it kind of say a bit about your intentions? It's like if you put forth what you love, then everything else kind of falls into place sometimes, at least in my experience, at least in my understanding of things. You were very generous in offering me a copy of The Belief, which is a track coming from the new Mood Swings release. We've been playing actually from your earlier release. I think that came out in 92. Enjoying Mood Food very much. And
still nutritious.
Very, very, very good. One of the things about it is it went from one feeling to another feeling to another feeling. You really included the entire gamut of your musical palette.
Yes.
In that particular project, is the new Mood Swings going to be similar?
It is similar. In some ways, it notches it goes up a little notch in terms of dynamism. It's called critical mass, and it's a supposition of when there are enough people. Critical mass is a mathematical formula that we see taking place in the fall of the Soviet Union or whatever like that, and it's a very small percentage of the human race are going to be the ones that, when there are enough of us, are going to make all the seismic changes that, without getting political, we're going to need to make to survive, both economically, socially, ecologically. I mean, like, we're basically going to hell in a handbasket unless something changes. And I'm extremely optimistic that this critical mass of people from all over the world that realize that now the way that the world is organized is an insult to our intelligence as a race, it will cause a seismic change and very it will flow. And so what I'm saying is, how many people does it take? Is it 10 million? It's a very small percentage of the 7 billion we have on this planet that are going to be, you know what? This is an insult to my intelligence. Now, I'm not buying into any of the systems that are now a complete anachronism for us to live with the way that we've advanced. And it's a spoken word. There's a lot of spoken word on it. I've got a very rare Martin Luther King speech. I've got Charlie Chaplin. I've got Robert Kennedy, Krishnamurti. I'm the first person ever to be allowed to use an Eckhart Tolle over music. Clearing all the samples for this album was quite an experience.
I bet.
Because we got every single one cleared. And at the beginning, it seemed like Robert Kennedy on this the cut you're going to hear in a moment is called The Belief, and you're going to hear it ends up being very familiar because Martin Luther King was trying out his I Have a Dream theme in lots of speeches he made in churches in the months leading up to the big event where he made the famous speech. And what happens in this song is that at the beginning you hear Robert Kennedy basically speaking while he's running for president to a huge crowd in Indianapolis where he has the pleasant task of informing them that Martin Luther King has just been assassinated. And then what you hear is he then goes into a paean of what has to happen in America that needs to be inspired by this terrible event into going in a new direction, which of course to some extent has happened. We have a black president and everything like that, and then that leads into this extraordinary speech by Martin Luther King.
We're going to play it for you. You're going to hear it first on the Morning Breeze. FM 88.5 KSBR with James Hood.
So I ask you tonight to say a prayer for our own country, which all of us love. A prayer for understanding, compassion. We want to improve the quality of our life and make gentle the life of this world. Dedicate ourselves to that. Thank you very much.
So tonight I stand before you with a belief. I believe that the day can come right here in America. All of God's children will live together as brothers. I believe there will be a day justice will roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. I believe somehow things can get better and dark yesterday can be transformed into bright tomorrow. I believe that the dignity and the worth of human personality will be respected.
and compassion toward one another, and a feeling of justice toward those who still suffer, and make gentle the life of this world.
So I thank you for allowing me to be on the mountain for a few days, but I've got to go back to the valley. Oh, I say to you tonight, my friend, I've had to stand so often amid the chilly winds of adversity, staggered by the jostling winds of persecution. I've had to stand so often amid the surging murmur of life's restless sea, but I go back with a faith. Is a faith that evil triumphant is somehow weaker than right defeated. At the mills of the God grind slowly but exceedingly fine. I go back with a faith that you shall reap what you sow. With this faith, I go back to the valley.
From Saddleback College, it's the Morning Breeze, FM 88.5 KSBR with James Hood in studio. You just heard from the upcoming release by Mood Swings, and it's a global treat. You guys were the very first ones to hear it. James, I love it.
Thank you, PJ.
I mean, it's such a tribute to the time and to our time, and to kind of remember it, remind us of who we are and what we came in to do.
I also think that it's somehow more powerful when you're reminded by something that was said a long time ago that makes you realize that actually nothing's changed.
Yeah.
And it's more powerful than being told by someone who's zeitgeisty right now, is that 50 years ago we were in this situation in this country where Martin Luther King said, what can we do in this country if we only had the will to do it? And it's still the same situation. It's all we have to do. That we're problem solvers. There's no problem we can't solve. Globally or in this country, all we have to do is get our heads together and be creative and resourceful.
Well, it's an inspiring piece, as well as ceremony with the hang drum. I love it. We'll be playing it. I thank you so much for coming in, performing live after being up late last night, driving all the way down from LA. Honestly, it is an honor, and I look forward to the next time when the release is ready and proper, and we'll go deep into the new release. Again, the title of that is going to be?
The Mood Swings record is called Critical Mass.
Critical Mass. And, I guess it's time for us all to look at what is important to us and what we might be able to do every day to put forth that effort, you know what I'm saying, in our choices and decisions.
And I want to thank you for having me, because it's such a honor and privilege to come here. I've heard a lot about you and a lot about this, the influence of this station, and I love to play live, and I love for people to hear this beautiful instrument. So.
Well, we'll bring more hang drum into the game if you're willing to bring it with you. Absolutely.
Anytime.
It's been so much fun. Well, where can people find you?
JamesHood.com.
And so you're probably found on all the usual places, iTunes, Amazon,
all
CD
through.
Baby,
I mean, JamesHood.com will send you to whatever you want. I've got Facebook, Twitter, all sorts. All the modalities are fully in effect. But and you can see videos there and send me in messages and buy the record. You can do everything on the website.
That's excellent. You guys, keep in touch. We've got music coming up here for you in a moment. We're just going to go out with a little more of that hang drum on the Morning Breeze.
It's the Morning Breeze, Jazz FM 88.5 KSBR, Mission Viejo.